Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I did come down to the lagoon today because I kind of wanted to do like another one of those like walk and talk kind of videos that I did a little while ago when I did my health update. Just thought it might be nice to like go for a bit of a stroll and talk, but it's raining and the weather's been kind of on and off lately, so you can't ever really tell when it's actually gonna rain, but it is like we're going through like bands of it right now, so I've just waited until it stopped raining to make sure that you can actually hear me for this, but we are going to hang out in my car for this one, so no walk and talk, but at least you've got like a little bit of a different background to stare at other than my messy bedroom. Today I kind of wanted to talk about the trend that's going around. I want to say right now, but I feel like it's been going on since probably like the start of 2024, maybe even earlier than that, and I'm just not privy to it. But I recently did a no spend month like challenge. I posted about it on my TikTok, and then I also have done I'm kind of in the middle of doing like low spend months. And I just wanted to talk about like what I thought of the challenge, and I don't know, sort of just publish this as like a full review. As I said, I did kind of briefly document it on TikTok. I didn't talk every day. I didn't even do like a big full wrap-up video or anything. And I just wanted to discuss it, I think, on a different platform where I do like longer form content, so I can kind of get more into it, if that makes sense. I had myself like a little picnic planned here. I was going to go and find somewhere to sit, but now I'm just in the car by myself with a snack. So it is what it is, it's fine. I'll have to have a picnic another day, I guess. Firstly, I think the premise of like no spend or low spend is really great, as like whether you're going to do that as your lifestyle or as like a challenge like how I did. Now there are some people out there who just live like this day to day. Like there are people who are purposefully very, very frugal in the way that they live their lives, and it's because they like to save money or they like to spend their money on like certain things, and that's why they live that lifestyle. I follow quite a few people on TikTok who kind of live like that, and I think it's great. However, I could not live that way full time, which is kind of why I did my no spend month as a bit of a challenge for myself, because I have a problem with spending money. I spend money a lot, and I go through phases where like I will save and save and save and save, and then I'll enter a phase where all I want to do is spend. And I've definitely been in that for a while, and I'm kind of trying to pull myself out of it again, and I thought doing a no spend month challenge would be like the best way to do that for myself. And it was great. I had a goal of saving, I think by the end of the month I wanted my personal account to have $1,000 in it. I believe I started with like 200 or 400 or something, and I wanted our travel savings account to have $3,000 in it. Now I started with 1,500, so essentially I wanted to essentially double what I already had, and it had taken me a while to save up that initial amount of money because, like I said, I like things. But I did achieve that, and I'm very proud of myself for that. I think it was great to have that goal and set it for myself and be able to meet it. Now, it was not as good as I wanted it to be, I will say that. Like, I had these goals and I wanted to meet them, but I really wanted to like smash them, you know? I wanted to get way above what my goal was, but the month for me just did not work out that way. It felt like everything that could have gone wrong in this month went wrong, but I think that was just like partially bad planning on my part, and then partially just life. Like, I think I ended up going to the doctors about 3 or 4 times and had to get like 3 or 4 sets of different medication. And obviously that's not something you can ever plan for, getting sick, and especially getting like repeatedly sick in the same period of time. I also ended up having to take some time off work to recover properly, and so that obviously affected my income for like my low spend months. It was a thing. It was also Mark's birthday, and yeah, that's what I mean by like poor planning. I didn't think about the fact that I had gone, you're not going to spend any money in the month of my partner's birthday when I'm obviously going to spend money. So that kind of stuff. I think if I did it again, I would definitely try and plan better, but obviously you can't plan for being sick. It definitely helped me break a lot of my bad habits, which I did appreciate because it was definitely time. You know, like I had developed a really bad habit of going to McDonald's almost every single day on the way to work. And I had sort of started working on like toning that back myself by going like, you only really need to go on like a Monday or a Friday as, you know, a treat kind of thing. But it was a really bad habit that I had like essentially every day for a period of time. I would get like an iced chocolate and most of the time 1 to 2 hash browns depending on like if I was hungry or whatnot in the morning. But I think the max I would spend is about $12. And that doesn't sound that bad, but when you think about spending $12 every single day when you work 5 to 6 days a week, it obviously does add up. And I appreciate the fact that I no longer do that, partially for my bank balance, obviously, partially for the time it takes me to get to work in the morning. I don't have to leave earlier, therefore I don't have to get up earlier or rush to leave the house. And honestly, my health is probably thanking me too. I haven't noticed anything that's inherently different in terms of that, but not eating takeout food every day has to be doing something good for my system. So I'm genuinely happy that that is something that I no longer do. I do still do it on occasion, but it's more like once a month now, rather than trying to convince myself not to buy it for the 5th time in a week. It also helped me in terms of like making, what do you call it? Not like rash, I don't know, like spur of the moment purchases. Spontaneous purchases, that's what I'm thinking of. So it helped me in that regard because I kind of told myself that it's like, it's okay to buy things, but we're just not going to do it this month because we're doing the challenge for this month. So if you see something you want, write it down and then at the end of the month I'll just go and buy it. Which I know was not a healthy mindset to have or the purpose of the challenge by any means, but that's just kind of what I told myself to get through and not let myself purchase that item like as it was directly in front of me. And I did find that I ended up purchasing nothing that I put on those lists. Like, I did make a list and it had probably 10, 15 items on it, but by the time I got to the end of the month, I was like, actually, I've gone this long without this item. I had completely forgotten that I'd listed this item, and it was just obvious that they were things that I didn't need. So I didn't waste the money on them, and I'm really, really happy about that as well. It is sort of something that I carried on into my like low spend challenge, just not allowing myself to buy things the first time I see them, unless I've like specifically gone out to look for that item. So I no longer I don't restrict myself from shopping like I was doing during the no spend challenge, but I will say that for my low spend challenges, something that I do is I only allow myself to spend money on a weekend day, so Saturday or Sunday. So if I see something on like Monday through Friday that I'm like, oh, I really want that, it's like, well, you have to wait until the weekend to purchase it. So that doesn't really do a lot if I see it on a Friday and go out and buy it the next day, but it is helping that, especially Monday through Wednesday, if I'm seeing something, I've actually got like a number of days that I can think about whether I need or really want that item. If it's something I see on Monday and it's still on my mind by that Sunday, I'm like, okay, screw it, well, I'll go and get it. But if I see it on the Monday and it's completely forgotten about, then obviously I didn't need it and I didn't need to be spending money on it anyway, you know? So that's something really nice for me to have developed, because I'm very much like, oh, that's cute, you're coming with me. So I try not to do that anymore. I brought this flavoured milk, like a little treat for myself, after I just said that I don't do that anymore. But I was getting groceries and I wanted a drink. I can't open it. Oh my god, why can't I open it? I'm only Mark. Mark's at work. Oh my god, I'm a damsel in distress. Oh my god. Ah, there we go. T-shirt always works. I have not found a flavoured milk in Australia that I like. Now this is Up and Go, so we obviously have this in New Zealand, and I'm really, really hoping that it tastes the same as when I was in New Zealand. Smells the same. Yep. Okay. Gangster. That's banging. If you know me, I'm a massive flavoured milk fan. And I've tried so many since I've moved here and they're all shit. Crap. I'm very sad about it. At least I know Up and Go tastes the same, so I can always revert back to that. Now what was I talking about? I don't fucking know. I'm just gonna open my door for a few minutes and get some like air into the car because it's starting to get a bit stuffy. Not that it's cool air, I might as well just turn the aircon on. The only real downside for me that I found for a like no spend month would be the fact that I am so self-critical, and obviously not everybody's going to relate to this, but I am my worst critic. I really pick on myself. I can be very mean to myself, and it is something that I'm trying to work on, and I think that's why I'm not doing a no spend challenge again at this point, because it was essentially like stoking a fire for me to be mean to myself, because every time that I had to go to the doctor, or I had to go and pick up medication, or I spent more on groceries than what is in my weekly budget for, I would be mean to myself. I'd bully myself about that and be like, oh, you're supposed to not be spending money. What happened to this challenge, you know? Oh, what a failure. And I know it's so stupid, but it's just not something that I want to put myself through again. I definitely need to do a lot of work on how self-critical I am before putting myself in any more situations like that. So while that might not relate to all of you, for those of you who are like quite self-critical, I know you'll understand. And that sat with me for the whole month, because obviously I was sick from week 2. So I've been sick for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th week of January. I'm only just getting better now, and it was not a fun sickness. I needed to buy a lot of different medications to get through it. I did spend money on Mark for his birthday because he absolutely deserves it. I would give that man the world if I could. But obviously having to go and do those things and actually purchase them was just creating more opportunities for me to bully myself. And we're not doing that in 2025. I'm not putting myself in more situations that are going to harbour that energy. So that was my massive downfall for the challenge. And that's just me. That's who I am, and it's something I'm working on. So it's fine. It's okay. I'm sorry if you can hear my car running, but I actually did turn the aircon on for a little bit because it got really, really freaking hot. I think it's like 30 degrees outside today, so it's actually not that bad. It's just quite muggy because of the on and off rain. It gets very like oppressive. Where was I? In terms of other downsides for the challenge, I honestly don't think there are many. Like, I'm saving money for very specific purposes. I really like saving money, and it was definitely the kick in the pants I needed to get myself back on track and to stop wasting money, because I was wasting a lot of money when I could be saving a lot of money. I want to travel a lot. I want to get back into doing like adventures that Mark and I used to do all the time, that again, I've just been absolutely wasting money. Like, we could be off doing something right now if I had been saving anything that I had wasted lately. So remember how I said it wasn't that hot? My camera just auto turned itself off because the internal temperature was too high, so had to cool that down using my car aircon. Now we're crooked. It's fine. It is what it is. I've got the car running, so I'm sorry if you can hear it, but yeah, I think downsides for this challenge are very few. Some people might come across some other ones, but I didn't really see anything that was negative or bad about this challenge other than my personal issues, and that's nothing to reflect upon the challenge itself at all. I just think it's great. I had a good time. I saved a lot of money. I think the only time that I ever had like a real issue with it was towards the end, where I was very, very ill and I was kind of just really mad at life. And I did have a little bit of a breakdown to one of my friends, and I said, I work so hard for this money and I want to spend it. And that was That was just me having a moment, so it can get like that, it can be like that. If you're a person who, like me, gets a little bit more like vulnerable and over life when you're sick, maybe don't do this challenge while you're sick. It was a time. But again, something I have altered for my low spend challenges. So not only am I allowed to spend money on like a Saturday or a Sunday, usually I'm trying my best to do like one a week, either a Saturday or a Sunday, not both weekend days. But it's going pretty well. Sometimes you sort of can't help it. And I've kind of got this goal for myself to spend $100 on like recreational things per month. So whether that is like I want to get new clothes, or I want to go out for a coffee with a friend, or breakfast with Mark, or something like that, I'm aiming to limit those expenses to $100 per month. Now that's $50. No, I was gonna say $50 a weekend, but it's not, because there's 4 weeks in a month. That was really hard for me to figure out. I'm still on the tail end of being sick, cut me some slack. But that's about $25 a weekend if I were to go out every weekend, which typically I don't, because I work a lot. And I do work on the weekends, and typically I don't really do anything else on a weekend when I'm working that day, or I try not to. Like occasionally Mark and I will go out for breakfast or something like that, but $25 a weekend is realistically more than enough, because I'm not going out every weekend, and then it kind of like condenses. I might spend $100 in one weekend going out to do anything, and if that means that I don't spend any money for the rest of the month, like, that's absolutely fine. For me, that's my setup. Now that's obviously not including anything that Mark spends. If Mark wants to go out and do something and he wants to spend it, obviously I'm going to tag along. But I just wanted to have the availability of money there to spend, because I was right. Sick me was right. I do work very, very hard for my money, and I should have the opportunity to spend it as I want. But I do need to stay within a savings plan for myself, so that I don't just run riot and spend all of it. But I want to have enough where I feel like I can still enjoy things. I can still go out with friends if I want to, go out with Mark, or do something, pick something up nice for myself at the end of a long week. I'm very fortunate to have that ability to do that. And so while I'm trying to be mindful of what I spend and how I approach my money usage, I kind of do want to exercise that privilege that I have and be able to spend something on myself, because the way that I grew up and have been throughout my working life, I haven't always been able to do that, and so I feel very fortunate right now that I am able to, and I want to be able to exercise that ability. So by no means am I saying that oh, you should never ever spend money ever, or oh, you should have to spend money on yourself because that's the only way you're going to be happy. I'm just saying, for me, sometimes I need a little bit of a monetary pick-me-up. Okay? I shouldn't. I should have another outlet, but we're working on who I am as a person, and we're not going to discuss that in this video because it's way deeper than it needs to be. Low spend versus no spend. I would definitely recommend low spend. Personally, I think everybody should give no spend a try, just to see if it's something that works for them. Maybe you guys will really enjoy it, and honestly I might do it again in the future. I have a lot on my mind that I want to do and want to experience, so honestly a couple of no spend months would be really, really good for the budget for those things. But right now I'm looking after myself as well as my money, so low spend is where it's at. I would definitely recommend that for everybody to give a go. I think it's very, I don't want to say freeing, because that's not the right word. It is definitely a more restrictive way to live. You have to think more actively about where your money is going. But in the end, I know for myself, I felt really proud because I met the savings goals that I set for myself, and in some cases, in my low spend months, I have exceeded them. And that makes me feel really proud of myself. So not only do I get to do the things that I want to do, like travel and go and see things and do things, which is a huge like reward in itself, but I also get the feeling of pride of accomplishing those goals. And I, for one, am a really like goal driven, purpose driven person, so that's a really big like boost for me, I guess, and for my mental health, because if I don't have like a goal or something that I can achieve or work towards, I do tend to fall into like a bit of a funk. So I feel like this has been one of the easiest ways for me to kind of feel like I'm continually achieving something, and it's just by being a little bit more mindful about what I do in my everyday life, which is awesome. I have spoken about it in a couple of other videos as well, that I want to kind of be a bit more conscious on like my over-consumerism and what I'm leaving behind on the planet and stuff that I enjoy, and I think this is a good way to kind of target that. It's kind of like an all-in-one thing for me, a many birds with one stone by doing this challenge, and I think that's why I would choose to recommend it to someone, because you're saving money, you get to do things that you really want to do with that money, you're also being more conscious about how you're consuming and what you're putting out into the world and bringing in. It's just been a really good experience for me, honestly. And that's, I think, is why I wanted to make this video, to discuss it, and not to say that everybody has to do this, and I'm very well aware that people do live in ways where they can't do things like this. I'm just saying, for someone who is in like the position that I'm in, where I have the ability right now to be saving a lot of money, I need to be mindful and make sure that I actually do it, because if I do it and I do the hard work and I do the hard saving now, I will benefit from it so greatly in the future, rather than thinking about what I want right now in this second and wasting everything and then having to work for a significantly longer period of my life to try and regain that traction and that, you know, a level of achievement that I could have had so much younger. Like, I kick myself now when I was back at like 21 to 25 and earning decent money for that age group especially, and just wasting it. Like, I absolutely kicked myself for that. I'm like, damn, if you had opened a long-term savings account at 21, we'd be balling right now. So I think that's the approach that I'm taking as I'm closer to 30. I want to be setting myself up for my 30s now and for my 40s now. One of my things that I talked about in my goals video that I did at the start of the year was I want to open a long-term savings account, and I think I'm about to go home and do that right now, because it's a great idea. Mark and I want to be able to retire when we are ready, and I know it's really weird and a little bit scary to be thinking about retirement when you haven't even hit 30, but for people who are doing that, you're the ones who are going to be able to retire when you're ready. Retire at 50 instead of 65, like in, I think that's New Zealand anyway. I'm just trying to make advances, basically, and set myself up for later in life, so that I don't get to later in life and end up chasing my tail. And if you're a person who wants to do that or is interested in doing that, I would say give this little challenge a go. Maybe take all the money that you save from it and put it in a long-term savings or investment account, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a businesswoman. I'm not the best person to be giving financial advice, because obviously I have made many a mistake in my time, and I'm going to continue to make many mistakes as I get older. But for now, in terms of this video and discussing a no spend month or low spend month challenge, it's something that I would 100% recommend to people. I think you should give it a go. If you do, make sure you leave a comment underneath this video and tell me how you did. If you're interested in it and want to talk a little bit more about it, again, leave me a comment. And if you liked this video, leave me a like. That is the best way for me to know that I'm doing something right when creating content for this channel. Otherwise, if you made it this far in this video, thank you so much. I always appreciate the views. Hopefully, if you liked me, you will subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!